You're listening to the Armchair Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Armchair Cricket Podcast, a podcast focusing on Test cricket by armchair critics of the game. In this episode, we continue a World Cup digest where we cover latest matches and news. Today, we'll be talking about the fourth day of the Cricket World Cup 2019, with the match about the match that was played at the Oval between South Africa and Bangladesh. Having said that, let me welcome my co-host Ajit. Hi, Ajit.
Hi, Giri. Well, it is a very nice day here for a change. We're seeing degrees of 31 or more, a temperature of 31 degrees or more, right? So, it's going to be, I could not tear myself away from being outdoors. So, I caught the match a bit sporadically, the match between South Africa and Bangladesh. But, well, it's turned out to be a good match and a comprehensive victory for Bangladesh. So, if you were to look at the score briefly, so Bangladesh were inserted in by South Africa, who won the toss, right? And batting first, they scored 330 for 6. This was on the back of a quick 42 of just 30 balls by Soumya Sarkar opening. And then strong contributions right through the order. So Shakib Al Hasan made 75, Mushfiqur Rahim 78, Mohammad Mithun 21, and then Mahmudullah, who made 46 of 33, and then Mosaddeq Hussain, who made 26 of 20, provided the final finish or a flourish, let's say. And they were able to take Bangladesh to 330 for 6. And this match being played at London, this was a very competitive score. But given how confident Bangladesh feel with their bowling attack, it was a slightly above par score. So South Africa started energetically as well, with Quinton de Kock making 23 and Markram making 45. But they were always behind the scoring rate, so to say. Faf du Plessis did his best with a 62 of just 53 balls. David Miller 38, Van der Dusen 41, and then JP Duminy, who scored 45 of 37. They all did their bit, and he got some support in the end through Chris Morris, Rabada, and Tahir, but they finished 309 for 8. If you were to look at the bowling stats from at least South Africa, well, Pehlu Khwayo took 2 for 52, and Morris took 2 for 73, and Tahir was also equally effective. He took 2 for 57. In a high-scoring game, this seems okay. Only Morris was on bit on the higher side, but what probably cost South Africa is that their fifth, sixth bowlers went for a combined, 0 for 82 in 10 overs because Ngidi got injured and they had to fill in with, Markram and Duminy. And Bangladesh were very quick to capitalize on that. So as a result, that may have proven that additional 20-30 run margin, And when it comes to the bowling of Bangladesh, Shakib Al Hasan took 1 for 50, Mohammad Saifuddin took 2 for 57. Shafiuddin. And then Mustafizur Rahman took 3 for 67 and Mehdi Hassan took 1 for 44. This effectively meant, Shakib Al Hasan with his all-round show was named the man of the match. So Giri, what are your thoughts on this?
We kind of foresaw this, right? I think in our previous episode when we were talking about or when we were doing a preview of this match, you said we cannot or South Africa cannot take Bangladesh lightly anymore.
Right.
No team can take Bangladesh lightly anymore, and then Bangladesh just lived up sort of to our expectations, right? I think South Africa, I think they are down on firepower when it comes to their bowling. Dale Steyn is still injured. I don't know if he's going to play the next match that they play against India on Wednesday.
Right.
Ngidi is out injured. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they have started to implode a little bit. And end result of losing by 21 runs doesn't show the whole picture, but I think all in all South Africa kind of they had no ideas in the field. Their body language suggested when they were out fielding that they had no hope. They had simply caved in. I think Bangladesh seized it. They saw the opportunity and then seized it. Especially Shakib Al Hasan. I think he's probably the greatest all-rounder that Bangladesh has ever had, and also Mushfiqur Rahim, the wicketkeeper. So these guys, I think we have to take Bangladesh seriously now because they have won against South Africa and comfortably so. So what will we do? I mean, what will South Africa do when they play against India? Will they come back with vengeance once again, having
Yes.
faltered
Well, I
twice?
mean, look, they have a couple of options, right? First one, you already mentioned, indeed, Stein. He might be fit. I think they'll be very eager to have him back and his experience on the field, right? And then they have these two or three fast bowling all-rounders. They have Peluquayo, they have Pretorius, they have Morris. Peluquayo has been effective, let's say, at least with the ball in both the matches. Morris not so much. So also maybe Pretorius has been there or thereabouts. Really nothing special. So they have Tabraiz Shamsi who's sitting in the dressing room in the 15, and they may want to bring him in for one of these fast bowling all-rounders, right? So that they get that X factor because he's a left arm wrist spinner. He brings his X factor. He can be a bit erratic as well, as most wrist spinners can be, but I think this X factor will be very crucial for them. This is one thing. The other thing, if Amla were to make a comeback, that would also add a lot of solidity to the top of the order. 330 was just beyond their reach. It's not all doom and gloom for me. And when it comes to Bangladesh, right, they've taken this World Cup really seriously because they came to Ireland and played a tri-series where they beat West Indies multiple times comfortably, right? And then it shows that they're really well prepared to, do well in these conditions. This is one thing. And the other thing, well, Steve Rhodes, the coach of Bangladesh, I think he sort of, in a way, challenged Shakib Al Hasan to live up to his, number one all-rounder in ODIs tag. And I think Shakib has taken it seriously as well, right? So as a result, well, they are doing well. And indeed, every team that will now face Bangladesh will be very wary of them going forward, right? That's
Absolutely.
one thing. But I mean, overall, it was a very competitive match. I mean, this might not have been as competitive as we'd wanted, but it was still fine. And that way, I would say the matches are getting more and more competitive. So, looking forward to tomorrow's match. It's England versus Pakistan, and this is going to be a cracker of a match. I get the feeling, Giri, because Pakistan have lost their first match and they're under a bit of pressure, and the way they lost it also was not very good, right? So, well, I mean, when we look at the Pakistani team, I think their bowlers could not have much to defend. So maybe they'll want to bolster their middle order batting. Maybe they want to bring in somebody like Asif Ali for Haris Sohail, even though it might seem a bit harsh on Haris Sohail. He's only played one match and he looked a bit out of sorts. But they may want to bring in Asif Ali who can slot in behind the likes of Hafiz and Sarfraz, and then he can provide that flourish at the end, like what Bangladesh got, right?
Yeah. I think for Pakistan, the key will be about how they are going to handle the short pitch deliveries. They struggled against West Indies in their first match,
Right.
and England have the likes of Jofra Archer, of course, right? And then I don't know if they'll bring in Mark Wood, and if they, have to tear away fast bowlers, and if they start bowling short pitch deliveries, how Pakistani batsmen are going to handle that. However, they've woken up, I guess, by now, and they might start counter-attacking just to take the sting out of the attack at the beginning of the innings. So it's going to be an interesting match when England and Pakistan play at Trent Bridge, traditionally a high-scoring ground.
Indeed. Well, I mean, as far as England are concerned, they'll want a few things to be fine-tuned. Well, they did well already to begin the tournament with a victory, but I think they'll also want to sort out a couple of things with the way their middle order is performing and so on. So yeah, they might want to look forward to get some people who don't have a lot of time in the middle. Some more, for example, Josh Butler did not fire exactly, and also maybe they want to do well at the beginning when maybe one of Jason Roy has done well, but Johnny Bairstow will probably be looking eagerly to this chance, right? So yeah, you're absolutely right. All in all, it's going to be a cracker and going to be very interesting tomorrow. All right, having gone through the bunch of matches that have been played and will be expected, let's now look at the trivia question. So before we go on to the trivia question from the previous episode, I would like to congratulate Yogesh. I think he's a new listener and he wrote in for the first time, and he's answered the question from 2 episodes ago. So basically from the second day's digest. He's answered the question about Debashish Mohanty correctly. Not only has he answered the question correctly, but given a very detailed answer on how this logo came to be picked and so on. So it's very well done to Yogesh. And we hope you continue listening to us and continue, writing in with your answers and your comments. Thanks a lot for that. Now, going on to the question from yesterday's episode, it is which batter holds the record for hitting the maximum number of sixes in a World Cup tournament, and what is the number of sixes? So, the batter or the batsman is Chris Gayle, universe boss, who hit 26 sixers in the 2015 tournament. Right, this is the highest. Also, in the same tournament, David de Villiers was doing well. He hit 21 himself, but Chris Gayle was easily ahead of him. So, going on to the trivia question from today's episode, the question is, which player holds the record for the most number of 50 plus scores in ODIs? So in one of the previous episodes, we were discussing Chris Gayle now has 6 50 plus scores. So similarly, which player actually has the record? And surprisingly, this is not a new record. If you were to think of it, you have to go back 25 years or so to see the answer for this. So that's the clue I can give. As usual, you can get in touch with us through social media, for example, at armchair.cricket on Twitter, through our Facebook page, or by writing into us at armchair.cricket@gmail.com. Right. And with the World Cup heating up, we have plenty to discuss in the upcoming days. So I hope you are going to be listening to us keenly and maybe write into us with your comments and your suggestions. Also talk about us maybe with your cricket friends and so on. So I would also like to say thank you to all those who are actually actively listening to us and writing in with their comments. All right. Having said all that, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him. Bye bye.
You're listening to the Armchair Cricket Podcast.